Hi guys, what's going on, and welcome back to Thrones of Britannia. Today we've got the epic siege of Bebbanburg. Yeah, I really wanted to do this. Obviously, I'm sure I mentioned in some of my other Thrones of Britannia videos, I'm a big fan of all the Uhtred books. Obviously Bebbanburg being his home. And I thought what better than to lay siege to it. So we've got some massive armies today, and this is a really cool map. I just love both the size of this fortress. It's got multiple angles of attack from land, which is where we're fighting today, although you could land from sea as well. There's a lovely, really big, stout stone and wooden walls leading all the way around the town, making use of some of the stone outcrops for defensive points, leading all the way around to the other side. Then, once you're into the city, you're still not over, you've got to climb up this sort of central mound up onto the rock outcrop, right up to sort of the capital points, right up on the top. I mean, if you wanted to land for sea, what an impressive sort of cliff-based fortress. They've got towers positioned on the top and only a small landing area. So it's a pretty resilient little fortress that could hold out for a long time. So we know they have defenders all along the walls, ready to repulse our attacks. Quite a lot of men here defending, so they're going to be able to put up quite a lot of resistance. But we've got quite a lot of stuff out, and I think we're going to be able to do a reasonable job, hopefully. So we've got another of our siege towers all arrayed around. This is going to be the main direction of our assault, thrusting in at this gate. We've got our rams to try and break down the gates, and lots of siege towers to go for the walls all at the same time. Obviously we're playing as the West Saxons. Come after conquering the rest of the most of England, they are now coming to reclaim some of their older land up in Northumbria. So these are all quite experienced troops now. They've been fighting the Vikings for a long time. So they're all pretty battle hardened, all well equipped. Some good solid mailed spearmen, axe infantry and sword infantry. We're all manning the towers. We also brought with us quite a number of some of the fjord archers, all well equipped. Little banner there in the centre, and a couple of units of cavalry, but mostly infantry. Lots of armoured spearmen. But that's not all. I didn't want to attack from just one direction. I thought we could best try and flank the enemy a bit as well. So right on this side, we have got quite a number of catapults arrayed up, which have been brought up for the siege, which are going to be launching their rocks up over the walls, trying to make some breaches, trying to drive the enemy back off these sections of wall here and push through. These are we've got all the fjord spearmen, all that have been levied off their farms for this campaign, and this siege against Bebbanburg. All still fairly well equipped though, all male equipped, hardened warriors. So led by their earl in this part of the line, ready to take in. We've also got a ram here with some sword infantry, which is going to go in and try and break through the gates as well. And finally, a few of the men have been able to sneak right round to the other side of the game, other side of the castle, and have brought a couple of rams with them. And they're going to try and make for this little gate here, in the hope that it's going to be very lightly defended, and they're going to be able to get through, and then maybe flank round the enemies from the rear. So let's get this thing started. So we are off. Our siege towers are launching in, preparing for their assault. And the archers are moving up as well to provide a bit of range support, try and keep the enemy archers' heads down so they can get in without getting shot to death too much. They're advancing with their shields up, trying to protect themselves from the arrow fire that's coming in. It's an enormous battering ram, an impressive piece of equipment. We've got some pretty heavy siege towers coming in as well. It's going to be a pretty good fight. Over here, I think our catapults are hopefully starting to fire. Wow, they are. Wow, in unison, it's a barrage fire. Oh, that hit some of the people. Oh, causing quite a lot of casualties on the walls with some of the rocks. It's quite a good start. I'm impressed. Their defence towers are starting to fire back, probably causing a bit of damage to our infantry. Oof, but we're starting to take down those walls pretty quickly, as our siege towers are continuing to move in. Our archers are now starting to lay down some fire to try and protect the units as they're coming in. And over on the other side of the map, our little ram is moving on his own. Looks like the rest of the troops are deciding to sort of stay out of range of the archer fire for the moment, which is probably a wise decision. They're cheering them on though, providing moral support as these guys try and go for the ram into the gate. Looks like this area is pretty lightly defended, just a couple of infantry here ready to defend it. But it looks like they should be able to break through on that side, as long as no one else turns up. Looks like the catapults are doing their job already and already blasting holes in the wall. But they are not stopping there, and the ram is already well on its way in. Ooh, they're throwing some rocks straight at the gate. Looks like our siege towers are here. They're trying to set them on light, so the fire arrows coming in. Oh, I think they might have just set someone on fire. These guys are getting their towers up against the walls. The Northumbrians have also taken quite a lot of missile fire from our own infantry trying to defend them. Look at them out of fire. Oh, and they're running away from the siege tower already as our units get straight down. And we can start to bring more men up the ladders. A ram is also at the gate trying to break its way in. Oh, it's in. They're in. Oh, and the ram collapsed at the same time. Well, that was just in time, wasn't it? It's like these guys are trying to get up off the siege towers to get into the enemy tape and try and start to clear away. All these guys are starting to push back in to try and stop us getting off the siege towers. Actually, quite a lot of people coming in here now. They've got some javelin men as well, and a lot of forces around here starting to mill around and apply pressure. Only these guys are completely outnumbered, and they're being shot by the towers as well to make it even harder for them. Looks like our ram has broken through at this gate as well, and we've got 2 breaches in the walls. So all the militia are starting to push right in now, using their shields to cover them as they come under arrow fire from the towers on the way in. They are pushing in hard, going over the walls. Hopping over the wall. That was cool.
Our warriors have lost the will to fight.
Sounds like some of our people are starting to struggle already. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys are struggling. The amount of arrow fire and the javelin fire they're taking, not to mention the fact they are completely surrounded, so they've got to be having a bit of a hard time in that fight. All of the siege towers are under a pretty bitter siege. I think our people pushed... Well, we took a lot of casualties getting through that gate, didn't we? And I think our people tried to push up the ramp by the looks of it, but didn't get there in time. But we're now sort of reformed, and we've got more armoured, some sort of mailed spearmen coming in with their kite shields. Oh, they're throwing boiling pitch down on them. Oh wow, that is brutal. That killed quite a lot of people. We really need to take this gateway. People perhaps making a bit more progress over this side of the tower, although over here they are completely surrounded. They're going to have a very hard time with that. Starting to try and push up through the gateway now. Bit of a disadvantage because we're on the lower side of the ramp. The enemy holds all the high ground up here. But we're going to keep pushing more men in, even though we're going to get through that sort of terrible amount of pitch that they keep chucking down on us. Try and get these soldiers in and up the ramp. Try and break our way through here is what we want to try and do. Our archers should still be laying down some covering fire, which I think they are doing. Oof, arrows away. Looks like most of our siege towers actually made it to the wall without too much trouble. It's actually breaking any further through, which seems to be hard. So, how are we getting over on this part of the battle? Looks like we've pretty well breached through the walls, took down their archer towers, but have immediately been re-engaged. Yeah, some of our spears, our militia, as soon as they've managed to get through the wall, have just immediately been engaged. These guys are forming up over here, and the enemy's coming to block this route as well. My plan was that these guys were going to try and push through here and then get round the back, maybe free up some of these siege towers so we can start to push the wall along. But they're doing quite a good job of intercepting me and stopping it from happening. So they push in to our militia spearmen. So what about on the other side? As our little sneak attack, how's that going? Well, this looks like it's going quite well. Despite... Oh, that pitch is devastating, isn't it? Some of the poor men slowly being burnt to death as they made it through the gate. But it looks like we are now pushing on through, killed the defending enemies at the top, and are now pushing well into Bebbanburg. Let's go back to the main fight. How are we getting on at the gateway? It still looks like a pretty tough fight, to be honest. Looks like most of the enemies are sort of formed up a flank round here. We've managed to push up some sort of spear unit here by the looks of it, which is trying to hold its own. A bit of it, some close and personal fighting. I just love these mailed spearmen. I think they look so cool, and I particularly love their kite shields as well. Trying to keep the enemy back, the enemy swordsman back. This is a pretty brutal fight. There's so many dead starting to litter the ground. You can see them all starting to build up. Looks like we didn't get a lot of luck with some of these siege towers. We've been struggling a little bit. Looks like most of us got wiped out. We're pushing fresh reinforcements up the towers now, trying to form up into our unit. We've still got these enemy towers raining down death on us. Trying to form up our new unit. Whether these enemies are going to go for us. Well, looks like they might be. They don't want us to get a foothold. No, they are coming in. Don't get a chance to get off the tower. Looks like we might be capturing the gatehouse though, which is a good thing. turning into a pretty brutal fight down here at the gate at this siege tower. We still have not been beaten back. Our Huskels here, our sword-armed Huskels, trying to keep, not get completely flattened. They've just been surrounded for like the past 10 minutes, but they are still fighting on and not in retreat quite yet. It's the battle for the gate that's the most brutal, I think. I think the Sluggers have still not really made any progress pushing out of the bottom of that gate. And we're still pinned down on all our siege towers as soon as we try and get in. And the things still look pretty tough here. Even despite having pushed through this breach here, we still haven't been able to take any more. It's like some of these units don't look like they want to get properly engaged in the combat or are hanging back to defend the gate, I'm not quite sure. What about our sneaky little units? How are they getting on? Oh, looks like they're getting on a bit better. Like some of the units might be trying to push up to go for the central keep at the top, maybe get the enemy Lord of Bebbanburg, who's probably at the top of there. Or are they just going to try and seal off this bottomers so the enemy can't retreat and form a new stronghold at the top? They're still being pestered by some of the enemy archers who are causing quite a lot of trouble for them. Still got arrows being rained down on the gateway battle. Things are continuing to be pretty brutal at the front. Dear. Okay, what about over here? Are things going better? Not really. We've got some reinforcements that have sort of moved up and formed up, but haven't yet committed to the fight. I think we might be slowly starting to overwhelm these mailed swordsmen. Looks like we're slowly starting to get the flank around, and if we're going to start pushing in fresh units, this might be enough to start to overwhelm this unit. Things are pretty tough still on this side of the battle, but if we can win this one, we can probably flank round and actually win the engagement. It's like we're capturing the centre of the settlement, flattening their market stalls. Oh wow, we seem to have initiated a bit of a fire. Wow, that looks so awesome. All the thatched cottages are setting off. That must have been some of the archer fire when they were shooting at our units as we were trying to make our way through. Have accidentally set their own town fully ablaze. Oh, look at this one. It's not quite caught on fire, but it's starting to smoke. I wonder if this one's going to go up as well. It's so close to the fire, it might actually catch fire itself. I love that. The fire animation. That is some of the best fire animations in a strategy game I've ever seen. That's brilliant. This looks great. Look at that. Looks like some of our troops are pushing up the hill, trying to go for the sort of top, the central, like the Lord's Town bit at the top. Well, they're still taking some missile fire, I think, from some of the towers. Let's have a look. Have we pushed through the gate? We still haven't made our way through the gate, to be honest, yet. Looks like we have starting to make a bit more progress down here. Looks like we've brought in reinforcements. Although there are guys just routing. They've been stoically stood defending this patch of their siege tower for about 20 minutes, but they're finally giving up. And while I can't say I blame them, they have been fighting for a long time. They must be exhausted. But I think these spearmen are probably equally as tired and are probably woefully equipped to deal with the new threat that faces them. I can't imagine they're going to be standing their ground for too much longer. And hopefully we are now starting to turn the tide. We're starting to win the siege tower battles. We're moving javelin up through the siege towers. Yes, there they go. They're starting to break now. Okay, this is what we want. We're still kind of outnumbered here, but we are now starting to push our cavalry into the city. One of our earls who was commanding this flank is now free to cause chaos and rampage around, and obviously is picking the nice juicy rear target of all these enemies who are nicely faced off. Oh, big hit. What a hit. It's caused a lot of casualties there. Quite a few people have died down here. This bloody defence tower must have killed so many people over the course of this battle. And of course, our units that won this engagement here have now been able to push around into the back of these surviving enemies and basically completely slaughtered them. This flank is now secure, and it looks like the enemy is kind of in retreat from here now. We are now starting to come back round the gate fight. To apply pressure, I think this battle is significantly turning into our favour. To be honest, I think the enemy put a lot of their defence into holding these outer walls, and they've killed a lot of us, but I think now we've about broken them. This is about the rest of their army, about gone. They haven't got a lot left to defend themselves with. I think they've still got their Earl up on the ridge. Yes, they have. Some of the Earls, Royal Huskels, still fighting on against our spearmen. Still killing someone. Saw someone drop his shield there. He's probably dead. Oops. Understandably, our men don't want to stand around and fight those heavy axemen. But we're now starting to win them. Wow, it looks like we've burnt down the bulk of this settlement. There's not a lot left. But we didn't catch fire in the end. It managed to avoid it. Looks like we've burnt down a good proportion of the town. Good. Yes, so it's looking good. Looks like we have cleared out this gateway fight. We have slaughtered so many and have had so many men slaughtered as the rest of our troops push into the settlement. All our archers, javelin men, all starting to move up now over the massed corpses of our friends, allies and enemies who have just all been killed in this massive gateway fight. So, what else have we got? Looks like we're basically through on all of these. Our troops should now be hopefully starting to move up to pressure the enemies in the sort of up and top bridge, which it looks like we have got some more of our armoured spearmen starting to push through the town. Another part of the town seems to have set on fire. More troops pushing up the hill. Looks like these guys actually managed to reform after being routed by those axemen, and have just sort of formed a shield wall to make sure they're safe from these guys while they're waiting for friendly reinforcements to turn up, who we can see now just starting to crest the hill in the distance. Still a bit of arrow fire coming out. The enemy towers still not giving up. Still raining down a bit of death on me, even as we try and get up this hill to kill the enemy lord. Shields raised to try and protect themselves, but more of the side shots I don't think are going to do them a lot of favours. Should have the bulk of our troops, even our cavalry, now starting to rampage through the city as we now start to pressure the enemy. Where are our other troops starting to move up? Here they are. I don't think there are any pockets of enemy resistance left. Doesn't look like it. It's like our cavalry are moving up freely. Our armoured spearmen continuing to move up, forming ranks before advancing by the looks of it. Got units moving along by the coast, happily flattening all the merchants' wares as they go. It's like all our archers have occupied the walls, so there's no enemy relieving force. This tower is still going. It hasn't been knocked down yet. Dear. Looks like our catapult crews have just stayed outside the fight, which is understandable. These guys don't really want to be getting into melee combat with very little armour. They have. It looks like they obviously must be out of ammunition by now. Oh, one of them even got killed. It's a bit unfortunate, but they are ready to fire if more ammunition turned up, or the command requested it. Still a bit of burning going on. Have our troops decided to push the advantage against the enemy Huskars? They have indeed. The Christian Cross still bearing on, has not been killed yet. This must be the enemy lord. The warlord knows armour, but our cavalry slamming into the back of them. I think that is the enemy warlord dead. On the floor, certainly, and to be honest, oh no, he's still alive, but I think they are now completely in absolute chaos. All their army has been killed. They know their siege is lost, and they're just being cut down. Well, I think we'll say that is victory for us. What a battle that was. Captured the enemy capital right up on the top of the hill. And well, despite the fact we've burnt down half the settlement, I'd say that was a glorious success. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. I'm sort of a bit new to this type of recording. Obviously most of you know me from my Total War Arena type stuff. But I've really enjoyed filming this, and I particularly enjoyed playing it as well. If you want this type of content, please give the video a like. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Did you enjoy this sort of thing? What could I have done differently? Do you enjoy the commentary? Obviously I turned my face off for this one because I thought it was kind of an immersive experience. I felt sort of watching the siege go on, and I don't think you wanted my face in the bottom of the corner kind of ruining that. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Subscribe to the channel for lots more Total War content, both of this type and arena content, which is going to have more coming up over the next couple of days. So thanks for watching guys, and I shall see you all on the next video.